Hey everybody, and welcome to our backpacking video series. I'm Carl, and over the next few weeks I'm going to be talking to you about some tips for backpacking. So today in our first video I wanted to give you 3 things to know before getting into the sport. So the first thing that you should know is that backpacking can be difficult and it can be uncomfortable. It's fun to be out in nature, it's fun to hike, but when you're hiking all day, it can start to take a physical toll on you. And so it's important to have good expectations on your first trip. It can be really easy to go backpacking the first time and to get really disheartened by how difficult it is, how much your shoulders hurt, how hard it is to sleep, a bunch of stuff. But the more that you keep at it, the more you get used to those sorts of things, and the more that you're able to enjoy yourself. The second thing that you should know is that it is a little bit of an investment to really get into, but there's a few ways to kind of get around that. And so it takes a pretty good amount of gear to be able to actually go backpacking, but you don't have to buy all of the very best stuff right off the bat. All of our stores actually have a rental program, and so you can rent a tent, a backpack, and a sleeping pad from us, which are pretty much the most expensive things that you would need to go backpacking anyways. It can also be helpful to borrow gear from maybe somebody that you're going with. A lot of people that are really into the sport tend to collect a lot of the gear. They might have a couple packs, they might have an extra sleeping bag, those sorts of things. And so it's important maybe the first couple times you go not to spend so much money to get into it and to try to find ways around that, because if you end up really not liking it, then it can be kind of a waste of money that way. At the same time though, it is important to use gear that's pretty good. If you have gear that is really not very good, it's not going to work very well and you're going to have a worse time while you're out there. So it's important to find the balance between having gear that's good enough and not spending a ton of money on gear. And when you finally do spend money on gear, the more that you spend can kind of pay off. Some companies like Osprey have really good guarantees on their products, and if anything ever happens to it, they'll repair it or sometimes even send you a new one. And so it can be worth spending money if you know that you're going to enjoy it and know that you're going to like the sport. And finally, the last thing to know before getting into it is that backpacking is really healthy in a lot of ways. It's mentally healthy to be out and to be away from screens for so long, to be in a quiet place out in nature. It's good physically for our bodies to be working and moving all day. That's what we're designed for. And so when our bodies go back to what they're naturally meant to do, they're physically happier, they're mentally happier, and it can be a good spiritual experience as well, being in a place that you can be more connected with the planet and with nature, and it can be a really powerful experience. So hopefully you found those tips helpful. Make sure you follow along on our YouTube channel and our Instagram channel at the store here. And hopefully before too long, we'll see you back here. Thanks everybody.